guys, welcome back. This is Of Stone and Clay, episode 144. Today we have a lovely comedian with us, Dustin Anderson. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me. Lovely. I'll start. That's a good way to start. I like it.
I'm assuming. I don't really know, but you've seemed lovely in your videos and our introductions.
We'll find out. I'll do my best.
Okay, so yeah, Dustin is a stand-up comedian, a content creator, a recent podcaster. Would you fancy yourself a bit of a satirist?
I started more that way, but a lot of what I say now is a lot truer than I think people think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because your podcast is called I Hope This Helps, right? And so a lot of it is maybe cultural commentary, very observational comedy. How would you describe it?
A lot of marriage stuff, a lot of family stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of this weird thing happened today.
Okay, yeah.
And some of it just absurd, just thoughts that pop into your head. You can either plant them and let them grow, and that turns you into a psychopath, or you can record yourself, put them on the internet, and now they're out of your head forever.
Right. Yeah, you talk about your blind chicken a lot, which I respect.
Yeah, she's doing okay. She actually is under siege at the moment by mice, and we've had mice trying to get in there for a while now. One of them tunneled under and couldn't get out and was trying to tunnel through the coop and stayed there and died, half in, half out. Excuse me. And we left that one in there kind of as an example to the other ones.
Sure, yeah.
I heard from my daughter last night that she set a trap near Celeste's coop last night, caught a mouse this morning, and when she went to get the mouse out and throw it away, it took off running.
So kind of a dramatic, foul situation.
Yeah. She's a more robust chicken than most, and I think that the mice that are coming after her they've gleaned some of her power, and they're now surviving mouse traps.
Do you feel like most of your followers are really there for the chicken content?
I hate to think that Celeste is overshadowing me.
Yeah.
If it hasn't happened yet, it's bound to.
Have you thought about making a page for her?
I mean, she would never know. That's the beauty of it. Just a bunch of pictures of Celeste looking the wrong way with sunglasses on.
Right. It's not that she doesn't have opposable thumbs. It's that she's blind.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And you're with children?
Yes.
You have children?
We've got 4 girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a girl dad.
It's a lot of girls.
Yeah. Tell me about being a girl dad. Was that, obviously you don't like grow up thinking, I'll probably just have daughters.
No, you don't grow up. At least I didn't grow up thinking I'd have any of them.
Really?
It was going to be boys for me, and I was going to have 10 of them.
10 boys?
Yeah. And then we had our second girl, and I was like, I think we're probably done.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple more not totally planned, and they turned out to be girls. And at one point, the doctor said, we don't know why you're having girls, but we expect that it will keep going. So if you have more kids, it's more than likely they'll be girls. So we got a male dog.
Okay.
And he's a Labradoodle, so he's part female anyway. And that's my son now.
Okay.
So, but the girl thing is awesome. I never would have, it's not something I would have probably chosen, but I can't imagine not.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to be Prince Charming in your own house.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Do you feel like there's parts of your personality or your disposition that made you like especially prepared to be a girl dad?
That's a good question. I have 3 younger sisters, and they probably took off some of the rougher edges a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like I'm still figuring out how to help the girls. So I guess there are things I probably wish were more in my personality, because the other part of it is it is cool that you're surrounded by girls, and there's this feminine energy that's just, it's insane and chaotic and beautiful and emotional, and none of that's a characterization of just women, but that energy is in my house. And then there's one male influence, and that one male influence has to be enough for all of them.
Right.
It has to be the umbrella that protects all of them and teaching all of them who they're going to find down the road and marry. So there's a lot of pressure there, and I think I'm growing into that. I'll probably be really good at it by the time they're all gone. And
yeah. How old are they?
Oldest is 17. The youngest is 11. They're packed pretty tight.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any brothers. I just have two sisters. So I had a healthy amount of estrogen in the home,
Mm,
but yeah, that's a lot of females.
that's a lot. That's a lot.
That's great. All right. I want to talk a little bit about comedy. So what got you into the space? What got you interested in it? I'm sure you were always somewhat funny or, somewhat interested in sarcasm and those things, but what made you decide, oh, I want to start playing with this a little bit more?
Um, Growing up in a big family, I was the middle of 7 kids,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to do something to get attention.
Sure, yeah.
And it was laughter for
Mm-hmm.
me. And my dad he passed 10 years ago. He was the funniest person I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
So he grew up having us listen to Bill Cosby tapes. Okay. And I found Brian Regan when I was in high school
Mm-hmm.
and fell in love with stand-up comedy. I never really thought that I would do it, but just was a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it, I think, just not because I had something to offer to comedy, but I was just a kid who saw Michael Jordan play basketball, and I was like, I'm going to go shoot free throws in my driveway and just try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried it out, and it was a lot of fun. I was really bad at it, but it was still fun, even when I was bad at it.
Yeah,
so you keep trying, and then you get less bad at it. And
right. So when did you start, like, in earnest making content and putting some videos out there?
About 4 years ago, my wife was going to do a little 5K that she was putting on. She asked me to put something on my Instagram stories, and I didn't know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
So she showed me how to make an Instagram story. And then about a month later, I thought of something I thought was funny, knew how to make an Instagram story, and away we went. I didn't think that I would ever make another one. Then I had another idea, and then another,
right,
and then
right.
It just kind of blossomed accidentally into something.
Yeah. What has it sort of felt like? I mean, I know for myself how a bit of this feels, but what has it felt like when you start to feel like, oh, there's actually a really large number of people that like my stuff, that want to hear more from me, and you start to feel like, it's funny, you kind of make fun of the like internet space, and you kind of make fun of like the influencer life and the, the public persona and stuff, but call it what you want, you're inside of it. So what has that kind of felt like as it's evolved over the last few years?
There are surreal moments when you get people that I've looked up to, like Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20 follows me on Instagram.
Right.
There's no way that should happen.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
What do you think's you're funny?
Apparently, he's got a personal assistant who got a hold of his password, or what. Somebody's playing a joke on somebody.
Sure.
But and then every once in a while, it doesn't happen a lot, but what I get a lot of is I'll go out in public and people will be like, "Hey, I think I know. Did we go to high school together? I think I know you."
Yeah.
And occasionally people will come up and say, "Hey, you're the guy from the thing, right? I like the thing you said."
Yeah.
And that's always uncomfortable. I don't let.
You don't like it?
I don't. How do you? I mean, how do you handle that? Do you?
I probably don't get it quite as much as you. Mine's maybe a little different because if they follow me and like my stuff, it's often like there's a deep, like, emotional thread, and so it's just all love, and usually they can pinpoint how they know me. But I like the attention, so I'm here for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good. But and you probably get, with that deep emotional thread, people who meet you in public, they love you. Probably, like, they're connected to you.
Right.
With mine, it's like, you said a funny thing, you made me laugh, and yours is more probably like you helped me through some stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's funny. I don't think you can always recognize it in the moment, but I think humor can help people out in a really similar way. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint if I'm going through a really tough time and I'm just doom scrolling or whatever, and I happen to find a video that like makes me laugh out loud. Maybe that doesn't like heal me or anything, but a certain amount of that can kind of just bring some levity to your life when you really need it.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, it lets you know that whatever that thing is in there, it's still working at least. Like it didn't
yeah.
get stomped out by whatever.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're really depressed, everything does feel a little grayer, a little more dull.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, having something remind you, oh, like I can feel this, I can laugh, I can feel joy again, even if it's really brief,
Mm-hmm.
it can be really helpful.
Yeah, I've had a few people reach out and say that they were going through something and that they found my content and that was helpful. And that's there was an email actually that came in on the podcast, one of the first episodes, that I had to pause afterward. It was kind of hard to get through, but it was very humbling is probably the word for it, because it's cool because I see what comedy has done for me, which is partly that, and then partly like open my mind to ideas I never would have considered. Like there's Jim Jeffries had this great thing on gun control like 12 years ago. It turns out he made up all the statistics and stuff, and I'm a gun guy, and he was talking about the opposing side, and it didn't change my mind really, but it helped me see something a little bit different. Like comedy can open you up a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's an honesty, even when you might be told a joke that's just a flat out lie.
Right.
You'll hear a traveling comedian say, I was in a coffee shop this morning. You're like, you were on an airplane, in a hotel. You don't, you go 3 different places and the coffee shop's not one of them. Somebody went for you. Right. But then they'll tell you something that has something in it that makes you laugh involuntarily.
Yeah.
So there's something real and honest in that.
Yeah.
And whatever that, I don't know what that is, but it can help you get through difficult things. It can help you see things a little bit differently.
Yeah. What, you don't need to go into it, but what did the email say that was so touching?
It was, there was a woman who wrote and said that they were dealing with a mother, her mother, she and her sister were dealing with her mother that had dementia or Alzheimer's, and talking about how difficult that was, and that they had been sharing my, I don't remember whether it was reels or podcast, back and forth, and finding ways to laugh about it. And when I started just making dumb videos and making fun of my chicken, you don't expect that.
Right.
And the first time, I don't remember the first time I said, I hope this helps at the end of a video, but it wasn't, I just remember it was something so absurd that I just had a pause at the end and I was like, I don't know, I hope this helps. And clearly it wasn't going to help, which I think is why I said it.
Yeah. But
then it became this thing where now I really do hope it helps in an absurd kind of way.
Yeah. You're not that the like sarcastic piece of information you share actually helps, but just that the message in general helps. The sentiment helps.
Yeah.
That's cool. Why are you a little uncomfortable when you get approached? I
don't know. It's probably the same reason I hate my birthday. Do you like your birthday?
I do. Yeah, but I probably have my own problems.
I don't know. I think that sounds healthy. You're supposed to like your birthday.
I don't know. I think it's funny. It sounds like you don't love attention.
No.
But sounds pretty rare for a comedian.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe it's the kid in the driveway with the basketball again. That's like, I love the art form.
Yeah.
But the thing that comes with it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We probably should. There's probably a book I could read or somebody I could talk to.
Yeah, we'll unpack it as we go. But for now, like you've started doing stand up, right? But that's like your video content is way more like where your time is. I'm sure, just based off of where you live and the lack of comedy clubs.
Yeah, stand up is the most fun thing that I do, but it's also the rarest where I live. So the comedy, the podcasting is probably second, and making those videos is really, it's just kind of working out the joke writing part of the brain.
Right. And is your stand up as sort of makeshift as your podcasts and your content?
Yeah, it might be worse.
Really?
I had somebody come and see me do stand up and afterwards say, "Oh, your stand up is just like, it's like I'm watching you on Instagram, but you just keep going."
Okay.
And it didn't sound like a compliment,
right.
But the way she said it was nice. So yeah.
That's cool. It's what I really like about comedy is there's very, very specific like types and brands, and everyone's a little bit different. And so like we were talking about before, there's probably a lot of people that compare you to like Nate Bargatze, and maybe it's tonality, or maybe it's your sort of observational skills, but you tend to wander off way more than him, in my opinion. And that's kind of your gift. You're a good wanderer.
I've never thought of that as a gift before.
Oh, for sure it's a great gift, because here's the thing. You fly a plane up in the air, and you're kind of going all over the place, but you know how to land it. And a lot of people don't know how to land it. They can yap about whatever, but you're kind of like, can we bring this back? Can we tie this in? Can we find some humor? Like, but yeah, you do a good job of somehow landing that crazy plane.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll ADD Nate Bargatze is
yeah.
I'll take that. I mean, he's a whole lot funnier than he's probably my favorite.
Yeah, he's really good.
And there's a part of me, I mean, it's always really flattering when people we make that comparison. And there's a part of me that's like, do I just like him so much that I'm doing
right, that it's derivative?
And I hope not.
Yeah.
I think he's just sort of the deadpan guy with those big owl eyes, and
right.
And I end up a little deadpan too. I think I don't experience, or I don't put out emotions.
Yeah.
My wife would talk about this for several episodes.
Not just in comedy, but in life.
Yeah. I remember I was in a job interview once, and it was like the third interview with this guy. And one of the last questions he asked was, do you ever smile? And of course you have to smile after that, but I wish I just had like, no.
Yeah.
Was
that part of the job?
We're at a job interview. What is there to smile about?
Yeah.
This is not fun.
Right. I hate this. That's great. We might have to call your wife in a minute. Yeah, I don't think you're like derivative of Nate Bargatze. I think a lot of it is just a similar tonality, I think. But yeah, I think yours is way more tangential and way more all over the place in a good way.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So do you, when you do go and do a set, do you do almost no writing?
No, I write a lot.
Okay.
I'm terrified of getting on stage without having anything to say.
Yeah.
I think I tried that. I know I tried that early on because I don't think you have to be comedy minded to have these moments where you're kind of in the zone and there's a group of people and you're just riffing and people are loving it. And so you think, if I could just do that on stage, right. But then you get on stage and you got the butterflies and you go blank.
Yeah.
And the first like standalone show I ever did, there was a golf clubhouse near my house that called me and said they thought I was a real comedian. They saw my social media and they're like, oh, this guy does comedy. So they asked me to do an hour.
That's a long.
They asked me to do an hour in a month and I had nothing written. So I wrote the first 30 minutes the best I could and I ended up winging it. And at the end, I just was talking about candles.
Yeah.
I had nothing about candles. It's like, candles are crazy, right? How does that even, like, what are we burning? Wax? And it's just silent in the room.
Was this a corporate gig?
No, it was, they just sold tickets to the community and it sold out, which felt good before the show. After the show, I was like, I wish nobody had seen that.
But that was your first stand-up ever?
That was my first ever total. I'd done open mic.
Okay.
I'd done comedy in 3 and 7 minute increments.
Yeah.
And they wanted an
hour.
hour.
Was insane.
And I didn't want to. It's booking a comedy show is kind of like getting a pretty girl to go out with you. Like there's a moment of, I can't believe I got this. And then after about a half hour, it's like, I can never pull this off.
I don't belong here.
Yeah. Well, she's going to immediately, I'm going to knock on her door and she'll be like, no, what are you doing here?
Wow. Yeah. An hour is crazy. Even like a lot of the greats don't like to do a full hour.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it feels like a longer time than it is if you got somebody talking about candles.
Yeah.
Too.
If you're kind of bombing a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? We talked about this a little bit, but what do you think ultimately is the utility of comedy?
There's the sort of old idea of the court jester. That I think in some court jesters were probably a little bit different everywhere, and I'm not good at history, but I think in some places that was the only person who was allowed to openly mock the king.
Right.
And I think there's value there. I am deeply in love mentally with Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh yeah. You've talked about that on your podcast.
Yeah,
which I really respect.
I can give you a lot of reasons I started a podcast, but the real reason behind the scenes is I want to meet Malcolm Gladwell, and I'm starting as many vehicles as possible to get there.
What's your favorite Malcolm Gladwell book?
David and Goliath.
Okay, yeah. I probably would. For me, it was probably Outliers.
Outliers.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Do you think you've done 10,000 hours of podcasting?
No. I mean, I'm not great at arithmetic, but if you added up all of the like social media stuff I do and everything involved, maybe, but even then, like I've been at this earnestly for almost 6 years. I bet. Yeah, I'm so bad at math. I don't even know where to begin.
That'd be a lot. That'd be but probably, I mean, we're just recording right now, but you probably do this all the time, this conversation, and
right.
Let's get deep on some stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, when I first started my podcast, it didn't feel like, okay, this is my first time having a long conversation,
Yeah.
So you have your hours before the 10,000 that kind of prepare you, but I definitely, I think in 5 or 10 years when I'm still doing this, I'll comfortably be able to say, yeah, I've got my 10,000 hours, but yeah, what
to land that plane, because you said I was good at it, and I think I crashed that one. Malcolm Gladwell, I heard him a few years ago say, comedians have become our truth tellers.
Yeah.
When journalism became a lot less trusted and exposed for being less reliable than people maybe had thought, comedians emerged as it's, you stand in a smoky comedy club, there's no corporate sponsors behind you, you say anything.
Right.
And especially if you're going to take criticism for what you're going to say, you probably better really say what you mean.
Right. Well, yeah, even like the biggest podcast in the world and a lot of people's best news source is Joe Rogan, and it's funny. He's obviously a comedian, but I don't even think he's especially funny, He's
definitely not my favorite comedian.
Yeah. Like he says things that are funny sometimes, but I don't think of him as a very funny guy, but yeah, he's a truth teller, and he loves other truth tellers, so he always has his other comedians on the show and stuff. And it's a really interesting point. Like this last year, I think the only like major podcasts that had Trump on were like Rogan and Theo Vaughn.
Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
It was the comedians.
Right. And same with JD Vance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And partly it's because it's like, yeah, these comedians, they're not coming at me with agendas. They're just going to ask me questions about what they want to hear. They're going to seek truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it comes back to that honesty in comedy thing, which is obviously not only in comedy, but comedy makes it really fun in a different way. Like independent, right? Like Substack, I think we might be shifting in the near future away from the comedians or the truth tellers to now it's the independent writers on Substack that end up with this huge following. And some of them will podcast as well, but writing has kind of always been the way to convey the truth to people since we've had writing. Yeah. And then now taking it out of the hands of just the select few, I think is going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I think it's really important to do that too. So how are we going to meet Malcolm Gladwell? How are we going to get there for you?
I didn't think very hard about how it would. I just figured if you say it publicly enough, eventually he'll just Beetlejuice. He'll just be behind you. I think probably if you start a podcast and say my goal is to meet Malcolm Gladwell, you're automatically on a list of people who won't meet Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I think you could easily enough pay to go to some event where you maybe shake his hand.
That would have been a lot easier,
Right.
probably, than a podcast.
Yeah.
I think maybe I don't want to meet him. I want to be.
You want to be a friend.
I want to be his best friend.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. I want to co-write a book with. I've never written anything,
Yeah.
but the first one will be me
Yeah.
and him.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, yeah, his hair alone, you have to.
Oh man, yeah. I want to know what's in there. Like, what secrets it has? What products?
His ethnic ambiguity
Mm-hmm.
is really special. One of my favorite things I gleaned from Malcolm Gladwell was, I can't remember if it was in Blink or Outliers, but he talks about the broken glass theory. You remember that?
I don't remember now.
So, I mean, it's hard. He has so many like little chapters
Yeah.
that aren't necessarily connected to other things, but he was talking about how, I think in the 80s or something, you know, there was this crime wave in New York City, and there was so much crime and violence and graffiti and littering and loitering and all sorts of things, especially in the subways. And he basically talked about how the city decided, we're going to try something. We're going to be insanely vigilant about cleaning everything up. And if there's a broken window, we're going to fix it. If there's graffiti, we're going to paint over it. And he said, because when there's an abandoned house with a broken window, people don't even feel bad about like breaking another window or throwing trash by the house, right? But if it's not broken, you don't want to be the guy that breaks it, you know? And if there's trash all over the ground, you don't even really feel bad about spitting your gum on the floor, you know? But if everything's clean, you want to maintain that cleanliness. And he talked about how you can kind of do that in your own personal life, you know? And it's kind of like when you have a clean room, you don't want to mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's clothes everywhere, you don't even think about tossing another shirt on the ground.
That makes me wonder if clean houses have less like crime among the kids, like less of the kids not getting along, yelling at each other, hitting each other.
Yeah, child on child crime.
Yeah.
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 Well, I think there's a certain amount of like, when there's chaos just everywhere, like, I think you're just prone to more chaos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I served my LDS mission in Brazil, and often on the streets, there's heaps of trash, and there's fire burning, and there's people screaming, and there's mangy dogs. And so a lot of people don't even think twice. They're eating their fast food and they just like throw trash on the ground because it's just chaos all around you, you know? But when you're in like Singapore and the streets are like pristine, you don't even think about tossing something on the ground.
Are the streets pristine in Singapore?
Uh-huh.
Does the government clean them up, or do people
the government enforces like
you go to jail if you litter kind of a thing?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't mess around there.
You know, we get real hung up on freedom, and I like freedom. I'm a big freedom guy.
Yeah.
But there is a trade-off.
Right, we got a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain, you know, you go to Japan. Japan's another great example where it's like there's not trash anywhere, but you also you're not as free as you are in America, but you can probably eat off the streets if you really want to.
How are we as a country? How do you think America's doing on the balance of freedom and enforcing cleanliness? I mean, lately people talk about the homelessness in the streets and taking over parks in certain cities and stuff. And that doesn't seem great.
Sure.
But there is a lot of freedom to it.
Yeah. It's tough. You know, the whole homeless issue, it's like that is a byproduct of problems way before that. Like we're kind of just screwed at this point, you know, like the real problem to fix is like the drug epidemic and poverty, you know, like where what to do with these homeless people, it's like there's no good answers, you know?
And the mental health, I mean,
Yeah.
a huge number of those folks that end up homeless are schizophrenic or have some
Yeah.
very severe issue that's not being taken care of.
Yeah, for sure. What has been your relationship with mental health over the years?
I get sad when things aren't good for the most part.
Right.
Sometimes I get sad when things are good, but I have had in my family, there have been people, like in everybody's family and among my friends, that have struggled with mental illness. And I mean, it's a tricky thing because you, as a loved one of somebody with mental illness, you want to give them a hug and a smile and maybe a book to read and see if you can make them laugh. And you run out of options really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the challenge of mental illness spreads pretty wide because it's everybody who loves somebody who's struggling and can't help feels a portion of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really helpless feeling when you have somebody you really love that is just really, really in the depths of it. Yeah.
Yeah. What's been your relationship to it?
I like how you said I feel sad when things are sad.
Well, it's hard to know sometimes with me because you'll be in a bad mood sometimes
Mhm.
and there's no reason for it.
Right.
And if that persists long enough, you could think, is there something chemically in my brain
Mhm.
that needs to be adjusted? Or if I look around, am I in the wrong neighborhood or doing the wrong things? Or I not sleep enough? Or am I eating the wrong things? Yeah. And how many things do I try to fix before?
Yeah.
Is it just self-inflicted sadness or is it something beyond that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good point. I heard Jordan Peterson talk about how when people come in and say like, "Hey, I'm depressed," he's like, "Okay, well, let's first, how's your sleep? How's your personal fitness? How's your nutrition? Let's get those things out of the way first."
Yeah.
And then also like, do you have a job? Do you have meaningful relationships? All these other things. But yeah, I would say there's a certain part of me that is maybe a little bit prone to sadness, but I wouldn't say I'm prone to depression. I would say I'm not scared of sadness. Like I'll feel it and I'll sit in it, and I know that kind of like joy, it's sort of this ephemeral thing. And so I don't need to be afraid of it. It's often something that reminds me that I have a big heart, and something that reminds me that something was really beautiful or was really meaningful, and maybe now it's gone, and so that aches. But I almost think sadness in the right amount is a really useful emotion.
So you don't try to fix it right away when you recognize it?
No, because there's so many things to cause sadness, like, and like you said, I like to ask myself, like, why am I feeling sad right now? And maybe it is just sort of a general malaise that I'm in. Maybe I've just had a stressful week and I'm not sleeping well. And so I'm just overly affected by things. But yeah, sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm sad because my life isn't what I thought it would be. Or I'm sad because this chapter of my life is really, really hard. Or there's people in my life that are experiencing tremendous sadness, and that's breaking my heart a little bit. And so, yeah, when it happens, I try to diagnose it a little bit, but I don't try to like eradicate it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, yeah, this is such a normal feeling,
That has become a superpower, I think, because, well, it's become rare because when I feel sad, my brain tells my hand to get my phone out of my pocket and look at something shiny and then scroll and try to find something that'll make me laugh
Yeah.
or feel better.
Yeah.
And and you end up covering, and the sadness doesn't go away. You're just sort of laughing on top of it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Um, and with the circumstances thing, it made me think George Carlin had this thing. I think it was George Carlin that talked about we go to jobs we don't like with people we don't respect to earn money to buy things we don't need to impress people that we don't like.
Yeah.
Okay, it's weird that you're sad. You know, that's there's no other way to be about that but sad.
Yeah.
But if you get stuck in that cycle, it's also really hard to maybe, number one, admit like, oh, everything I'm doing is in service of something that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then pivot and build something entirely different.
Yeah. Yeah. I also try to recognize that I can be sad and happy simultaneously. Like there can be things in my life that I'm really grateful for and that bring me a lot of joy. But at the same time, like my sister has some chronic illnesses. And when I talk to her or when I think about it, sometimes that brings sadness to me. And it doesn't need to like weigh me down and become a thing, but it's like I think when you walk around with a certain amount of empathy, a certain amount of sadness follows. And so I don't look at it as this big, like dark cloud that's going to consume me. I look at it as I'm just feeling human emotions,
Yeah.
And I also, when I'm really sad, when I'm in even a depressive episode, I try to be open to feeling joy, even if the joy is a little mitigated or it's a little less vibrant. I'm like, I still need it. I need it really badly, actually. And so, I'm not gonna sit in the narrative that, oh, I'm sad right now. Like I'm in a sad period. I'm sad because I'm in a breakup, or I'm sad because somebody passed away. I like to just be like, yeah, sad is an emotion I'm feeling a lot right now, but I also feel joy. I also feel gratitude. I also feel love. And to not get too caught up in the narrative of, oh, I'm depressed right now. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm reading a book. You ever have those books that you read that change your personality for a little bit?
Yeah.
I think I got too deep into this.
Right.
I'm reading one now. I'm listening to one now,
Mhm.
which counts. I
Yeah,
think I can listen a lot faster than I can read, so I consume a lot more books that way. It's about Ernest Shackleton and the voyage to Antarctica. They're trying to cross the continent. 28 men get in a ship, and everything goes wrong permanently. I mean, I'm not to the end of the book yet. I hope some of them live.
Yeah.
But they come to a point 2 years in. They've been freezing to death and starving basically for 2 years.
Mhm.
And they're stranded on this little beach, and the weather is locking them in, and they're facing almost certain death, and people are getting toes cut off. It's the most depressing thing I've read in a long time.
Mhm.
And in the middle of all this, all they have to do is wait. They're waiting for a rescue that might never come. And they decide to have a talent show. And it says they spend days writing poems and stories. One guy has a banjo. Like they brought a banjo to Antarctica.
Yeah.
And he's playing funny songs, and they're making fun of this guy because he did what they're like. The resilience to not just curl up and die
Mhm.
in the most difficult time, and recognizing that they're still going to be sad and depressed and might not make it out, but the duality of we're going to be happy at the same time is impressive.
Yeah. So what about that has sort of for a moment shifted the way you act, the way you think?
It probably has. I haven't recognized it until right now, but you talking about recognizing that you're sad and finding utility, and that's okay, and maybe I'll explore this and sit in it for a minute. Their story, and knowing that it's a true story, everything that happens that's good is immediately followed by something terrible.
Right.
And they just can't catch a break.
Yeah.
And so I think the back of my brain extrapolates that for me. Everything good is going to be followed by something like just waiting for the negative.
Yeah.
I've been a little more pessimistic this week as I've been. In fact, I'm super happy to be here with you. And I was driving here today and thinking I shouldn't be here.
What do you mean?
I don't have imposter syndrome. I'm an imposter. I'm going to go up there and show up at the podcast, and Taylor's going to be like, "That's not the guy that I said was." Yeah, and I'll be sent home.
We were thinking about another Dustin. Dude.
Yeah, there's a bunch of you, and we got the wrong one.
Yeah.
Something in the back of my mind. Yeah. I think I'm kind of temporarily programmed by this, and stories have that for me. Maybe for everybody, but a story can just carry you into a different spot, and it can be a minute before you come out again. Yeah, I agree. I love that about stories.
Do you feel like there is sort of this inherent level of pain behind humor? Like that's the reason it comes out, that's the reason it's there. I know a lot of comedians, talk about they think they're funny because of pain, right? Because of things they've gone through, and maybe as a defense mechanism, maybe it's not always that serious. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think that's at least extremely common. Of the funniest people, or at least of the most successful comedians in history, most of them have had issues or damage or something going back to childhood, or like obviously famously Robin Williams fighting darkness the whole time. Yeah. And that's a very common, so there's a lot of drug use in comedy, which is medicating something, and everything is medicine maybe.
Right.
So comedy could be I'm just medicating something by trying to make people laugh to get validation, to fill this hole. I do think there are some who are less broken is probably the wrong word, but there's a little less tragedy behind it.
Right.
And some people, it's just, you were funny in high school and people loved it, and it feels really good to make people laugh.
Yeah.
But the ones that go the farthest, because to be a very prolific comedian, you got to make a lot of sacrifices, and maybe you're only going to do that if you're starving for it.
Yeah, yeah.
But inherently, like if your friend tells you a joke, it might not mean that he's hurting.
Sure.
But it could.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the interesting thing, and I don't know how to like quantify all this, but I look at 3 guys I knew that took their own lives, and all 3 of them were funny guys, very charming, very charismatic, very witty, quick on their feet, like all these amazing qualities. And obviously all 3 of them, it was behind a veneer of tremendous pain, and I wonder what that is. Like, I'm not saying this is such a gross generalization, but I almost feel like anytime I hear somebody that takes their own life, they were like, had a robust personality, and people, and it's this tragic loss because people were like, they were so amazing and so personable. And I just wonder what that is. I wonder if it is part of it is some of those gifts come at a cost, some things that make you think too much come at a cost, and it's a gift and a curse,
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's to have 3 people that you apparently knew well.
Yeah.
That's devastating. It is, I think, a fairly common thing that it's probably not true that all people who are trying to be funny are hurting, but I think a lot of people who are in pain are looking for something. And there is such a high to, and not just stand up, but like telling a joke one-on-one, and somebody laughs until they have to leave the room and they can't breathe.
Yeah.
I've had that happen, and I still think that was like 6 years ago. That happened at work, and there's such a rush to that.
Yeah.
And so I could see somebody chasing that and trying to use it to fill a hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I one time made a kid laugh so hard that he threw up. It's got to be one of my greatest accomplishments.
Was he feeling sick at all, or you just
No,
like
he
from
was-
scratch got him?
I think it was we were eating and he just like I think he had some food in his throat while he was laughing, and it was kind of a comedy of errors. But I I couldn't help but feel really proud of that moment and of his suffering.
Yeah, I mean, you want to tell jokes to make other people happy, but also if you can, like in school, if you can whisper a joke to your friend and he gets in trouble
Yeah,
because he can't stop laughing,
Yeah,
that's an extra, like, I was so funny, I ruined your day.
right.
That's, yeah.
I have a friend that it's funny. He has the kind of humor that not everyone gets and not everyone appreciates, but to me I'm like he's one of the funniest people on the planet, right? And he's the kind of person that he will do the craziest funniest things when he's all by himself, just to entertain himself, right? And I remember we were like we had this like boys trip last year and we went golfing and it was a buddy's birthday and we got some food and we went to a grocery store afterward to just get some snacks. And we're leaving and someone's like, Where's Al? And we look over and he had somehow put on one of those like grocery apron things that looks like he works there. And he was helping somebody. He was helping somebody at the self-checkout. But he never said, "Hey guys, check this out." We just look over and he's over there just doing that because he thought it'd be funny. Like, isn't that elite behavior?
Sometimes I think you need to make yourself laugh. Sometimes the comedy is just for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because philosophically, religiously, I don't even know where this falls, but I was in college having just a rough day once. And it was snow outside, freezing cold. I had to walk back to campus. And I just was, my freshman year was like, oh, the whole thing. But I was walking on the way back to campus and I had just kind of like a fleeting thought in my mind that was kind of like a prayer. And it was like, you know what, God, I could use a joke today. Can you tell me something funny? Not 10 seconds later, up ahead of me, huge clump of snow falls out of a tree and lands on this girl's head. And I could not stop myself. This poor girl was having the worst day and heard my laughter in the background. And I don't know that God does that.
Right.
But it felt like it.
Did you go up to her and say like, hey, I prayed that this would happen?
I'm sorry. I'm better at prayer than you are. If you just had applied yourself a little more, you could have.
Well, yeah, if she had had the foresight to be like, Lord, please don't let any large clumps of snow fall on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fair's fair, right?
Yeah.
And some days you're the guy with the snow landing on your head.
Yeah.
And you just hope somebody else is laughing.
Well, I certainly think, I don't know the correlation between that prayer and that mini avalanche, but I certainly think God has a sense of humor,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's I don't think I've ever done that, but I think that's a great thing to pray for, is saying like, I need a laugh today. I've prayed for joy, I've prayed and said like, help me feel joy. I'm having trouble feeling it. But to get more specific and say, man, I could really use a laugh. That's a great prayer.
Yeah, you're making me think I need to be more focused on my emotions. If that's what comes out of this, my wife will love it. Right. Because I don't know that I've ever prayed to be happy or to feel. I pray for the checklist of things that I think need to happen. Mm-hmm. And then when they don't happen, I'm like, wait a minute, why didn't you do?
Yeah.
But the inward focus on the emotion is. I'm going to take that away from this. That's a good thought.
Yeah. And, I think I try to look at God as like the most compassionate, loving, perfect therapist that I can tell anything to. And so when I'm praying, I try to just check in with myself and be like, what am I actually wanting and needing? And sometimes that's happiness, Sometimes it's like the other day, I remember I woke up and I was fine, but I was like, I am having trouble like seeing the colors. I'm having
Mm.
trouble like feeling little bits of joy. I'm kind of just going through my day and it's fine. I'm not depressed. I'll get through this, but I just want a little more. I want a little more vibrancy. And so, yeah, I just prayed like help me feel when joy comes, help me to feel it and
Mm.
recognize it. And it helped, you know? And I'm not a theologian. I'm not an expert in prayer or how and when and why God answers prayers. There's a lot of mystery to it that I'm okay with, but I feel like it helps. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the you mentioned earlier Jordan Peterson. I heard him talk about prayer and said, I've tried to do this, and maybe it's why I've ended up with a little more of the checklist kind of thing, but think about what you want and try to figure out what you really want. And then prayer is basically just an exercise where you say, help me see where I'm messing up, where I'm in my own way.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get the answer, it's over. The prayer's over.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then stand up and go fix whatever, but recognizing that whatever's not going your way, it's probably your fault, or at least there's something you could have done better about it.
Yeah.
So go fix that part and then come back and see if it's better.
Yeah. Clean your side of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a buddy that a few months ago, he called me and we're really close. And he was just telling me like, he's struggling to pray. And he's like, I know I need to, I know I should. It's what I believe, but I have no desire to pray. I have at night when I should get down on my knees, I just don't feel like it. I don't want to. And that feels like a problem. And so we were just talking about it. And I said, I think it's okay when you're in that spot to just say, hey, God, I don't feel like praying right now. And I wish I did, but I don't. And, I'm sorry, whatever. And that can be your whole prayer, right? Because that's honesty. That's where you're at right now. And that's fine. And I think that prayer is infinitely better than no prayer, right?
Yeah.
Even just laying in bed, you're not on your knees, just saying, I can't do it tonight, God. I'm sorry. That's a prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Radical honesty. This is one of those things that as a kid, like your parents tell you, don't lie, tell the truth. And you're like, sure, I'll tell you that I snuck out through the window. Like, yeah, I'll tell you everything. But as a kid, it never resonated. Honesty was, if you got caught, you were honest.
Yeah, yeah.
The older I'm getting, it's really the actual freest thing you can have. Like to have that prayer or to have that moment with, like if somebody calls you and says, hey, do you want to go to lunch on Thursday? And you don't, and you don't say, oh, I would love to, but I have this thing, I can't go. Like every time you do that, I think it takes a little something from you.
Yeah, you die a little bit.
Yeah. But if you could just, and I don't necessarily do this all that well, but if I just don't want to go, and if I just tell you, thank you for the invitation, I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah.
There, like you didn't tell, you told the absolute truth, and you don't have to worry about anything really, because whatever the consequences come from that's what was supposed to happen if you just did the right thing. Radical honesty is, I'm trying to push this at my kids, and they're awesome. They're way better than I was in terms of, they just get most things a lot faster than I think. They got a lot of their mom in them, which is good, but it is the thing that will free you. The truth will set you free. Like, it's been right there this whole time, and I just didn't grab onto it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the more you are like radically honest with everyone in your life, it's much easier to do that with yourself, and sometimes that's the hardest person to be honest with, because when you are radically honest with yourself, a lot of times it's really scary. It's a really ugly narrative, and you're like, oh, it would be much easier to sleep at night if I told myself something else.
Yeah. It's easy to lie yourself into thinking that you believe certain things or that something is important to you when it's clearly not.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking earlier with somebody about fitness, like health and fitness culture, and all of these. I made this video a couple of years ago now about the sort of the fitness routine where you got to wake up at 4 a.m. and you got to cold plunge and look at the sun and work out and go for a run, and then go and make 40K at work and come back and do the sun and all of this stuff that you're maybe supposed to do. And you might even, I listen to a bunch of podcasts about stuff that I never do.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Huberman, if he could walk into my life, he would be like, delete my podcast. It's clearly
You're not
helping
allowed
you.
to listen.
Yeah. But I think that I believe it, but that's a lie, because if I believed it, I would do it. Another thing I got from Jordan Peterson, you are too complex of a creature to understand yourself just by sort of inwardly thinking. The best you can do is watch what you do. That's who you are.
Right.
It's the Batman. Like, I'm not, what is it? It's not who I am inside that defines me. It's what I do.
Yeah.
And so self-deception gets really easy if you stop honestly looking at what you do and therefore who you are. And then you can judge other people based on their actions. I cannot believe she said that. Or I can't believe he did that. Or even superficial things like, why are you wearing those shoes? But then you look at yourself and you're like, well, these are the only shoes I had. I didn't want, you make allowances for yourself.
Yeah. I'm interested. What are the emotions that you sort of struggle with that your wife is like, come on, Dustin, like, can I get some more out of you?
I feel all of it, but I just don't think I show really any of it. I could probably count on 3 fingers the number of times I've raised my voice at my kids. I don't think I've ever yelled at my wife.
Yeah. Well, those are great to begin with.
That is good, but it's also probably a symptom of something that might not be as good. I had a job years ago, a sales job, that my manager called me once and he was like, hey, do you care about this? Because he's like, everything's going fine, but you just don't seem like you care whether it's good or bad. Like, no, I actually am losing sleep. I care so much.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't tend to.
It comes across as apathy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's highlighted, especially during conflict, I think, because, my wife and I have like any couple, our disagreements.
Yeah.
And she's a very passionate person. It's one of the things I love most about her. She's a bonfire and I'm a candle.
Yeah.
And she will get, like, she'll cry and she'll occasionally raise her voice and stuff. And I just get quieter the more that happens.
Yeah. Not a lot of animation.
No.
Yeah.
Almost none sometimes. And then she'll see me laughing really hard at something funny I heard or something. And she'll be like, oh, you can muster for that. That was important to you. But what about this? And it's not a correlation to importance at all. If anything, it could be an inverse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably like a lot of it is just you're a thinker. And so in the middle of conflict, you're just thinking about it and trying to digest it, and you're not trying to react, Is that probably accurate?
I'm trying to see my way out.
Yeah.
Which also, if I voice that, it sounds bad it's like, oh, you're trying to get out of the argument.
Right.
No, I see the problem you're highlighting and I'm trying to find a solution, but it doesn't, in that moment, obviously what she wants is to see that it affects me.
Yeah.
You just brought to mind a quote I heard. I'm a big quote guy, and I forget all of them. I don't know who said them, and I always mix up all the words. but it was something to the effect of the world is a tragedy to those who feel and a comedy to those who think.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's a tragedy to those that feel, and it's a comedy to those that think. Yeah.
I don't know whether it's all the way true or not, but
Right. Well, and there's, like we've been talking about, I think there's often tragedy within comedy, have you ever seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell?
yes.
I I love that because he has this little notebook, and he's trying to figure out if his life is a tragedy or a comedy, right? And he will go, and when something sad happens, he goes, and puts a tally mark in tragedy, right? And then something light and funny happens, and he's like, oh, sweet, puts it in comedy, But yeah, I can resonate with that. I think, I don't know that I view life as some grand tragedy, but human existence is certainly tragic, right? And there's a certain level of tragedy that's completely inescapable for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
And, but again, I don't think that's a bad thing, like even like for me, like my greatest exemplar in life is going to be Jesus, right? And even in scripture, it said he was a man acquainted with grief.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, not that bad of a thing to be acquainted with, I guess, And I think, you think Jesus wasn't a deep feeler, It's like only the most compassionate person to ever exist. And so, is that not a good thing, So, yeah, I'm okay to be acquainted with some tragedy, I guess.
The baseline default setting does seem to be slightly tragic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going throughout your day, it's kind of you're kind of just drudging along unless something positive happens.
Mm-hmm.
But when something positive happens, there's this huge spike. There was this this guy I heard about years ago, this organization, I heard this guy talking about it, probably on a podcast, that was in favor of annihilating the human race.
Okay.
And his reason, and it wasn't, he wasn't trying to like wipe out Earth. He just was saying we need to stop reproducing and we'll just fizzle out. And the reason was life is overall negative. Human existence is overall negative. And you may have, 6% of the time or whatever the number is, positive experiences that you have, but most of it is not good. So it would be better if we weren't here. And the absurdity, like just to hear somebody say it out loud, you could tell how absurd it was. But to your point, the utility in the sadness and the tragic part of it and the empathy that comes from it and how that might motivate your actions to reduce the suffering of other people, for example, is you're not going to get that if you don't have the sadness.
Yeah, yeah. And I would argue against the fact that life is mostly drudgery and life is mostly getting through the day. It can certainly feel like that at times, but I think you can decide to say, you know what, like, yeah, life is always going to be hard and complex and complicated and ugly, but there's also beauty all around me all the time. And so, and there's things to be grateful for at all times.
Help me see the colors.
Right. And so, like, say you're just kind of like sludging through the day and you're like, this is boring, this sucks, don't like this person I have to meet with, don't like this person that I have to call, I have to do these annoying errands. Sure, but you can also be like, but I have 4 beautiful daughters. And no matter what I'm going through, I have that little gem in the back of my mind and I have that to go home to. And so I'm like, to me, that day isn't drudgery because you've got all this beauty behind all of that,
Yeah, it's a good point. The risk, I think, is you get those 4 beautiful daughters, and then your baseline moves up. And if you dip below baseline, you feel sad again because you forget about the beauty that's right there in your face.
Yeah. Okay, you're a quote guy. I got a quote I want to share with you.
I love it.
Have you ever read much of Nietzsche?
Quotes, but not.
Yeah.
It's his books are a little dense for me.
Yeah, he's a dense man. It might be tough to listen to on Audible at double speed,
especially in a German accent if that's how they're going to do it.
Yeah. I heard he recorded all his own Audibles. Okay, so this is by our dearest Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, "I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses."
Hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you can apply that to a person, and maybe he's talking about himself. And you probably know better than I what he was like as a person. Maybe that's a description of his personality, but I think it's also, there's the old saying of a diamond in the rough. I think that's there for a reason. A lot of times the roses are hidden by the dark forest.
Yeah.
But was he like a dark, moody kind of guy?
Yeah. He definitely had some I
know he was a nihilist for a while.
Yeah, he had some existential dread for sure. And I think was open to peering into the darkness of life, And so it sounds like you could easily view him as a person and be like, that's a dark individual. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of, discontent. But if you actually got to know him and sort of got past that darkness, you'd find banks of roses. I'm like, that's really beautiful, And I think it's true with most people, I think most people that we maybe struggle to get along with or struggle to like, if we really got in there and got deep and we're willing to sort of burrow under the trees, we could find those banks of roses.
Yeah. I don't know anybody that I've taken the time to really get to know that I despise. There are people I don't want to hang out with, but you can find the roses. They're there. It's probably also the reason people love like World War II books. It's a dark forest, and the books a lot of times will pull out the roses.
Yeah.
And dark book, like my favorite novels, like The Book Thief, The Road, like Cormac McCarthy.
So good. One of my favorites.
That might be my favorite book.
Yeah.
It's one of the darkest things I've ever read. But it's the relationships in there are just, it's a bright rose.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also why a lot of women are into the true crime thing. Maybe I don't know if the roses are in those stories, but they're in there looking for them.
Right.
Maybe it's just the privilege of, I have a theory. I don't think women in good relationships are afraid. They like the true crime because they know, my husband would never, my wife's like, my husband's never even going to yell at me. He's definitely not going to like bury me under the back porch.
Right. So there's no fear.
Yeah. But you go to certain places, like certain people, and they don't want any of that because they're living it.
Yeah. That's an interesting theory. Probably some truth to that.
Yeah.
What is the thing you love the absolute most about your wife?
We met in high school, and we met because I had to meet her. We went to a big high school, and I kept looking for her in my classes, and she was never there. So my last semester, senior year, I went to all my classes once, and she wasn't in any of them. So I just went home and called her out of the blue, and we went out, and
What do you mean you had to meet her?
I just
I like
couldn't.
that.
I had seen her,
Yeah.
and there was this sense with her that it was like, this woman has something that I don't know what it is, but I want to find it. Like,
you felt immediately drawn to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like expression on her face, the way she carried herself. She was not like other people that I knew. And I wanted to find out what it was. And I was such a detective about it. Our first date, I don't think was even that fun for her. I bought her ice cream because you had to.
Yeah.
And I sat her on a rock in a park and I said, tell me everything. And she just started, and I was like, tell me where you were born. Let's go through all of it. And I was just combing through it for what's the thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I know exactly what it is yet, but it is my favorite thing about her. I think our second date, I asked her, I probably was not like most guys in school too. I think I'm surprised that she didn't just turn and run. I asked her, what's the most important lesson you would teach our kids? This is a second date. I was 17.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't think we're going to have them.
Right.
So that's an easy answer. And she said, the 17-year-old girl, she said, I want to teach them who they are, that they are loved by God. And then I think everything else will be easier after that. And from the jump, I was really attracted to the femininity and the motherhood even before she was a mother. I knew I wanted somebody who wanted to be a good mom and who wanted to stay home. I know not everybody wants that. Totally fine. No judgment. But I wanted somebody who was going to be home with the kiddos, because I thought it was going to get like, I have a lot of inadequacies. That's going to hopefully make up for a lot of them. So I went sort of deliberately looking for that. And we had a rough courtship at time. It was a ton of fun, but it also, like, we broke up and got together, and I left the country for a couple of years. I did an LDS mission in South America, came back. We both dated other people, and it ended up just sort of finally working out, and was still a struggle, but there was that thing in there that I couldn't find anywhere else. So I was very committed to making it work out. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said even today, there's something about her essence that is hard to put your finger on.
Yes.
What is so good and mysterious and beautiful about her.
I notice it when she's out of town. There's a whole different feeling.
You're like, we're missing something enormous here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will subconsciously look for it. Like if I'm in the house and she's in the house, I'll just suddenly be in where she's in, folding laundry or doing whatever. She's out in you just
want to be there.
I just go, and it's subconscious. I just go. Yeah. It's the definition of attraction, I think.
Yeah,
it's this thing that just pulls.
Well, I think, I talk to people about dating all the time, and I'm like, I think the number one thing you should be looking for is being obsessed with that person's personality, right? You just want to be around them. Like, you don't even need to necessarily articulate why, but you want to go to the gas station with them. You want to do laundry with them. You want to do anything you're doing is a little bit better if they're there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can talk all day long about a person's sort of resume, right? And what they bring to the table and their qualities. And I'm like, yeah. But I just want to be so ecstatic to like watch the weather report with them, because for some reason sitting next to them feels right, and it feels at home, and any thought that comes to my brain, I'm like, I want to share it with them.
Yeah.
And you don't get that with everyone. You don't get it with hardly anyone.
Yeah.
And so when you find it, you got to hold on to it. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It's it's not always there, but it's mostly there. Because the trade-off, I think, is when you are at odds, the world is upside down.
Yeah.
And, the older we get, we've been married now 21 years. We're less often at odds than we were the first couple of years. Like, you're trying to figure out how to just be with somebody in the tiny apartment that you can barely afford. So you can't afford 2-bedroom. Like, if I'm mad at you next to you on the only couch, but this is the only place to sit here.
Right.
But, and also it was really good for us to leave. We after I finished college, we wanted to just go have an adventure. So we moved to Texas. We didn't know a single person in the state of Texas. And we just loaded up a truck and went. Spent a couple years there, went to New Orleans, back to, we kind of had our little adventure.
Yeah.
And by the time we came back closer to where family was, we were more connected.
Right. More unity.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a harder question.
Okay.
What do you think you love the most about yourself?
Oh boy. I hate that question.
Sure.
What I like the most about myself.
No, not what you like the most.
What I didn't even think about.
Don't you deflect.
What I tolerate just gradually start
what do I
stepping
not
it down.
hate about myself?
What can I live with about myself? This is the same thing as birthdays, I think, should end at 10, because it's people just, and especially people I don't know well, congratulating me on just still being alive. It feels like a lot.
Yeah. That's why I love my birthday, but I keep it tight knit. Like, I don't like to throw a huge party where there are people that I don't even know. I have a big dinner with like my closest friends, and sometimes family comes if they're close or whatever, and it's awesome. But yeah, I don't really need congratulations that I'm still alive. Like, I guess, yeah, I managed to not kill myself, but
good job.
Thank you. Yeah. Really, it's like, if we're celebrating my birth, like, we should call my mom.
Yeah.
Like, we should celebrate her.
That's a good point.
If it's your birthday, we should be celebrating the mom.
Yeah. It's not your graduation day.
Right.
You didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You just made my birthday better. I'm going to make it a thing.
Make it about your mom.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah. If you're a little neurotic and can't feel joy during your birthday, make it about your mom.
You strike me, though, as your birthday is probably more about reflection and gratitude and joy and like living purposefully and recognizing that, and less about what did you get me? And
sure. Yeah.
What nice things is everybody going to, it's when people say nice things, I think that's
where you kind of,
yeah.
But I like that too.
Huh.
We in my friend group, we often do, we call it a honey roast, where you just say nice things about each other.
It's like a roast in reverse kind of thing.
Yeah. And so
I like that.
Yeah. So we do it for when it's somebody's birthday, and we don't do it with like 50 people. We do it with like the tight knit group of 6 or 7 people back at someone's house after a party. And
are these deep? It's not like, I like your hair, your necklace is really cool.
Yeah. What's funny? It's like they're really deep and intimate and vulnerable, but sometimes in that group, like somebody's cousin is there or somebody's, and that's when they'll often be like, yeah, dude, I like your hair.
You seem great.
But because of that, I try not to have them be present.
Yeah. Don't bring your cousin.
It's not really fair to them, because I almost want to be like, dude, you can just say pass, please do say pass. But yeah, they're pretty darn intimate.
Do people say things about you that you disagree with? That might be where I get into if people tell you that they love something about you, but internally you're like, no, actually I'm working on that because I'm terrible at that.
Right. Here's what I do when I hear that, and my immediate thought is I disagree, is I try to be like, well, this is somebody I trust, someone I believe, so there's got to be some truth to it. Like, and you maybe don't feel that way easily with everyone, but if your wife tells you something she loves about you, you got to be like, well, I trust my wife. I love her deeply. And so if she earnestly feels that, there's got to be some truth to it because she's an amazing person, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel the same way with my friends. Like if they say like, bro, I love this about you. You do this and this and this. Even if my first thought is, like I actually feel like that's kind of a weak area for me. I gotta be open-minded and be like, well,
you got to take it seriously.
yeah, I gotta take it seriously. And I'm not gonna let it go to my head and be like, yeah, I guess I'm pretty freaking awesome. But it's more just like, wow, like if they think that, maybe there's some truth to it.
It's like a reverse intervention almost.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of utility in it because it can kind of show you parts of yourself that for whatever reason you're not allowing to shine and you're not accepting. And so, yeah, it can be a really like sacred part of the evening. But it's funny. It's part of our friend culture. And, every once in a while, bless their hearts, someone new is infused into the friend group and they got to get used to this culture. Right.
Yeah.
And it can be a lot. It can be kind of intimidating. And,
yeah, that would be a lot for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where, I was raised to show love through maybe not insults, but kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just like at home with my, excuse me, not just at home with my family, but friend group. And it was all just, you were making fun of somebody if you felt close to them.
Right.
So that would be, again, probably why I don't like my birthday. But
right. Well, it's funny, that is the culture of our friend group. But one year, one of our buddies was like, guys, this year I want to do a full like a normal roast of myself. And he's like, say whatever you want, but obviously like you guys know me, don't try to hurt me.
Yeah.
Like don't go after things are going to hurt me. But yeah, like we all went to an Airbnb and like had a weekend and there was like 15 guys and we just laid into him. And
How did it go?
It was so unbelievably fun. But again, we all know him so well, like we're not trying to hurt him. We just know. And he was an easy person to do it to because he's very self-deprecating in a funny way. And he's very like verbal about his own weaknesses. And so, we weren't trying to go for the jugular necessarily, but a lot of it ended up being just funny stories about, when he did this stupid thing or when, things we know he's insecure about, it was fun.
Huh. I like that. A honey roast. I won't do it, but I like it.
I won't.
I hope nobody ever does it to me. I feel like I'm achieving a lifetime.
What about this? What about this? How sweet would it be to give your daughters a honey roast on their birthday?
That would work a lot, but we do a version of that, but it's a lot less. It's more impromptu. It's usually around the dinner table when we're having their birthday dinner. Everybody say something you love about so-and-so. And it's usually like, she let me borrow her jacket when I was in 6th grade. It's they're young, they're young. My wife and I get more sincere and deliberate. And I think they're getting a lot of honey roasts from their parents all the time.
Yeah, that's great.
Not as much from each other.
So you're a honey roaster. You just didn't know it.
It's just very specific. It's just to the kids.
Yeah. That's great, though.
It's a good place to start.
Yeah. You just don't want to be the roastee.
I don't at all.
That's funny, dude. I don't know what it is, but I can just, I can endure compliments for a long time. I'm here for it. It just makes me feel good.
I think that's healthy. I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. What has been as you've gotten older and matured and grown with your wife and with your children and just life in general, what has been sort of the progression of your relationship with God?
it's gotten a lot more real. I was raised in a very religious home, never really deviated in any kind of meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
So I always sort of knew what I believed. But again, if I would watch my actions, I probably didn't believe a lot of the stuff that I thought I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Kids is the game changer. That's the, like, I remember specifically the moment my first daughter was born. And now they don't, now they'll, baby's born and they immediately give her to the mom, put her on the mom's chest.
Yeah.
But they gave this girl to me. And the flood.
Were you kind of chesty at the time?
I don't want to brag.
Yeah.
I was often mistaken for somebody who was transitioning.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. I had beautiful hair.
Right. Some feminine qualities.
I had some positive femininity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little chaotic.
Okay.
No, I don't know, other than we were in Texas and maybe they were just like, the man gets the first, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, but
give the baby a gun.
They wrapped her up and handed her to me. And I thought somebody told me babies don't open their eyes right away, but they handed her to me and it was eyes wide open looking around. And I was just looking at this little creature and I was like, I'm not enough yet for you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's already looking. I wasn't ready for her very first moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything becomes a little more real. And then stuff that you're, reading about in scripture are things that you have always heard about and thought, like the honesty thing. Suddenly it's a lifeline that, thank goodness thank goodness my parents put it in there, even though it didn't all quite catch on.
Yeah.
It just got a lot deeper and continues now. Like the more I have to let go with my kids, the more you have to trust God. Like I have a daughter who's driving now and sometimes she'll drive home from work sometimes at like 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
And I'm tracking her on my phone, but I can't go pick her up,
Yeah. There's more surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little more of like, it's Jesus take the wheel, really.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. What has been, as you've started your own podcast and you're brand new in the journey, what has been sort of the ethos you want to have around that?
I'm still trying to figure it out. It took me a while to start because I wanted to know that. I wanted to know what I was doing before I did it, which is very much my personality. And eventually I just thought, I don't think I'm ever going to do it if I'm trying to find the answer. So let's get up in the sky and then try to build the airplane up there. But the title was on purpose. I hope this helps. I want the podcast in some way to minimize or lessen human suffering. And it's not an overly funny podcast. I think it's a bit of a disaster on wheels at the moment. I haven't had a single episode that I've liked yet, but hopefully at some point we'll get there.
You're 9 episodes in.
I'm 9 episodes in. We're 0 for 9 so far. I would recommend to everybody who sees this podcast, please do not watch this.
Okay. Please do not rate or review.
You can rate it, but I know what the rating is going to be. But I would like to get to the point where it's something that people look forward to, that's an uplift and hopefully informative.
Yeah.
I've started doing stuff from the news and I've started doing a little book club in there. I don't know. We'll see. In a month or a week, it could look very different.
Yeah. Do you want to eventually have guests, you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to sort of get my feet set before I get to that point.
Yeah.
But how long did you go before you had guests?
My first episode was a guest.
You did guests the whole time.
Yeah. Actually, I did like an introduction episode and then sort of a general, like, what's this podcast about episode. And then my next one was a guest, but but like you, when I first started, I was like, I didn't really have some big reason. I was just like, I want to do this. This sounds fun. I want some long form content. I want to be able to talk about topics in depth. And I had a lot of ideas. I wanted to I ended up not really doing this, but I wanted to do like some book reviews, and I wanted to talk about sports and entertainment and popular culture and relationships. And it ended up kind of narrowing into the themes that I have now, you know? But like I had an episode that I recorded, I think it was episode like 10 or 11, and it was great. It was fun, but I would never do that today. Like I just had a buddy on that's like a staunch LeBron James fan, and I'm an MJ guy, and we just debated. We just talked about it. And it's fine, but that's not what my podcast is about right now. So, but I think it's fine to kind of flounder a little bit and figure out what direction you want to go, and the themes and the motifs, they kind of just form over time. You know, I think you listen to anyone's podcast in the beginning, it's a little bit different than it is after a while. Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. I hope so. I hope mine gets different.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping for exactly what you were talking about, where it's almost like it kind of finds its own way. Yeah. Did you have influences early on, like podcasters that you liked?
You know what's funny? I think in the beginning, I thought I was leaning a little bit more into comedy. I never wanted to like, I mean, I've fantasized about it, but I never seriously thought about like doing stand-up or anything. But I was always kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of funny. I like am similarly interested in sarcasm and absurdity and things. And so I think I tried to approach it with a humorous voice. And I try to add I try to show my personality, you know, but
you could do I mean, I don't want to be the guy who gets really into rugby and then is like, everybody should try rugby. But I don't want to tell you need to do stand up, but you could, with the presence. I mean, you've said some funny stuff. I think you can. I think you do a great job.
I can handle it. Yeah. The problem with stand up is I wouldn't be interested in doing it casually, right? Like I'd be like all or nothing.
Yeah.
And so, and to be all in, I know what that looks like.
That's Captain Ahab. That's
yeah. And I like, I would want to like move to LA or New York or Boston and like do open mics 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And that's just not the path I want to go on. And so I know now I could get on stage and I could get some laughs and I could have fun with it, but I wouldn't enjoy bombing, and I wouldn't enjoy the process of getting past the initial stage where you're struggling a little bit.
Yeah. It's like growing a beard and getting past the itchy stage.
Yeah, but the itchy stage can be brutal.
It's years.
Yeah. So I think I just kind of missed that boat. But yeah, when I first started, I didn't really know what the tone was yet, you know. And then I just tried to stay authentic to what I was interested in and what I actually cared about, you know. And so the evolution of it was actually pretty simple. It wasn't super thought out. Yeah.
Radical honesty. It's the authenticity.
Yeah. And I just realized, like, what are the kind of conversations I want to have the most just in general with my friends and family and people that are in my life. Like you said, when you're having just this like flow state moment where you're laughing and you're making your friends laugh and you're telling jokes and you're whatever, you're like, dang it, if I could just capture this moment, if I could have cameras here right now, you know, it's like, those are the kind of conversations I want to have, you know. And the funny ones they can be really hard to duplicate when you add lights and cameras.
Yeah.
And
so
stuff.
It feels a little different.
Yeah. It's easier. Like, that's why so many comedians have such great podcasts. And so often they just have like their comedian friends on, and it's like, cause they're used to the cameras and the lights, so they can just be themselves and just be funny.
Yeah.
You know? You asked like, did I have some influences early on? I think because I thought maybe I would be funnier than I actually was. I like Theo Vaughn to me is like, He's the king. He's the rat king. But he's so, and what I love about Theo is he can oscillate really seamlessly between deeply funny and weird and absurd to like really meaningful
Yes.
and really heartfelt. And he does it effortlessly.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It's so effortless. It's probably not even on purpose. I think it just.
Yeah, he's just a genuine human, and he's genuinely, to me, the top tier funny. Like, it doesn't get funnier than Theo Von for me. And it's funny. You know what's funny? I don't think his stand up is like half as good as his podcast.
His podcast is the best.
Yeah.
His solo episodes, or when he's talking to a smart guy, or somebody with an accent, heaven forbid,
right?
He just slides into the set. He just talked to Jim Jeffries, and he's speaking Australian the whole time.
Yeah. No, he's everything for me.
I really like. I agree with everything you're saying. He'll say things that are not accurate,
right?
But there is truth also.
Yeah.
It's like, we used to have a cousin that had, and I'm like, no, you didn't.
right.
But the thing that follows has this realness to it.
Right.
Where at the end you're like, I don't know, maybe he has a cousin that has 12 toes or something.
Or he knew somebody that knew somebody or whatever. But yeah, like one of his bits I loved is in one of his solo episodes, he talks about, he's like, yeah, I've ran out of gas 30 or 35 times. And and he had a caller call in, and she's like, what is your problem? Why don't you just put gas in when you're getting low? And he's like, I don't know, because I like to be risky. I like to be out there just riding.
It's just who I am.
And he's like, and also I didn't know that people don't run out of gas anymore. He's like, they don't teach you that growing up. They don't tell you that people don't run out of gas.
He's not wrong. They don't tell you that.
Have you ever ran out of gas?
No. Somebody at my house has, but not me.
Yeah, we won't name names.
Yeah.
I ran out of gas, I think, just once, but I was like 16, and I literally...
That doesn't count.
I know it doesn't count, but I literally called my dad, and I'm like, yeah, dude, the truck won't start. And he's like, is there gas in it? I was like, I don't know. He's like, look at the...
That means no.
Yeah. And he's like, well, when was the last time you put gas in? I was like, I don't know. Probably haven't. And he's like, yeah, you're probably out of gas. So anyways, but I did have one of my close friends in college. He'd run out of gas fairly often. Probably 5 or 6 times that I could think of.
I just can't imagine. I mean, is that not a negative experience enough to where you're like, on this time, 3 times was enough. I'm going to really start to.
I think my buddy was so was so unaffected by things like that, and also never had a traumatic experience. It was always like pretty close to a gas station and would call a friend or something. So it wasn't that bad, but.
That's what I worry about with being a good dad. Because I bet he had a good dad who took care of stuff.
Sure.
And I worry that my kids will get out on their own and be like, we were supposed to put gas in this thing the whole time. Like,
yeah.
I thought that the government gave us toothpaste. I didn't know we had.
Yeah.
If you do enough for your kids,
right.
At what point do they need to start?
Yeah. And the funny thing about this kid is he is, of my like high school friends, he's easily the most successful. And no one saw it coming, because he was just always like a little absent-minded, a little like we lived together in college, and there was a period where somebody forgot to pay the electric bill, and we just decided when they turned it off, this isn't so bad.
We just don't have lights now.
Yeah, we're fine. And we got an extension cord, and there's a little outlet just outside of our apartment. And we're like, we're fine. We got lamps now. Like, it was like, whatever season it was, it like wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. We're like, yeah, so we have some cold showers. It's not a big deal, but we kept the electric off for way too long. I don't remember how long it was, but it was way too long.
Huh. Were you evangelizing? Like, this electricity is all a scam. They're just trying to, they have outlets for your lamps right outside. You just get a cord.
No, we weren't. We were probably a little embarrassed, but we were
not enough to.
I think it was coupled with some laziness and maybe some lack of financial flexibility.
Yeah.
But we were just kind of like, yeah, we'll probably pay it next month. We're fine.
And now he
has a like wildly successful, owns a few businesses, and
there's a thing there where you don't have to be good at everything.
Yeah.
If you just are the one thing, and it can be like, I'm not going to drink water unless somebody puts it in my mouth, but I'm really good at math.
Yeah.
And then you just are Bill Gates.
Yeah. And he was good at being like, yeah, I don't know anything about this, so I'll hire you to do it.
Yeah.
And, he started the business with his brother, and his dad helped out, and he was, really, really good at a couple things. And like he was a guy that like, for a period of time, like I think his bed frame broke or something. And so he brought out like couch cushions. He brought couch cushions into his room and like slept on 3 couch cushions, but was just fine with it.
I don't need to fix the bed.
Yeah.
I got this couch cushion.
Well, and it was kind of like, whatever, we'll get a mattress when we get it, but just was really unconcerned, So it's funny. You talk to his wife now, and she's like, Morgan was a disaster when I met him. I have no idea why I married him. But she's like, he just needed a woman. He was not gonna make it as a bachelor. but now he's like, he's wildly successful.
That's true. Yeah, I started to think maybe that's why I'm not. I'm just getting by because I'm paying electric bills. I'm trying to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I feel like you're trying too hard with the electricity.
Just let everything else go and just do. I don't even know what the thing would be. You got to pick something and just run.
You get home, you're like, babe, we're not going to be paying our bills anymore.
Yeah, had enough.
How far has it gotten us?
Yeah, we'll just get some cords. Yeah.
There's another way, honey. Okay, we'll wrap this up. I like to end asking if you have any questions for me.
I've been asking some along the way.
Yeah, you have.
But your podcast has grown to something huge. Where do you see this going in the next year, 5 years, let's say?
Yeah. There's so much out of your control, I just want to focus on growing and getting better. And so I don't have any like tiers or milestones I'm obsessed with, but I just want to do this same thing on a bigger scale, and I really want to do it forever. And so I look at this as, even though I'm 6 years in, I look at it as like very, very early beginning stages. And so, I want to, there's a million interesting guests I want to have and conversations I want to have. And it's funny right now, so much of the content has been about like my journey of being single and a lot of heartbreak and stuff. And it's like, okay, that's just the chapter I'm in now. But when I get married, like I want to talk a lot about marriage, and I want to talk about, my wife and what that love looks like. And that's a new chapter. And so I'm excited to just kind of take my audience with me wherever I go,
That's awesome. So I'm in on the ground floor. We're at the beginning.
Yeah. That's right.
You talk about being single and looking.
Mm-hmm.
Do you worry? You're a fairly public figure at this point, at least like the people that they'll know what you do. And are you do you get people that you think like you? Maybe it's different for podcasting, but like they're into you, but maybe it's not the you, maybe it's the podcast you or the writer you or the public you. Do you have to weed those out?
I don't worry about that too much because I feel like I'm showing the me, you know? Like, I don't think there's a big difference between like podcasting Taylor and regular Taylor, right? It's just regular Taylor, you know way more about him if you're spending time with me. You know, the podcast is a specific format. So yeah, I think there's maybe the only problem is some people when they meet me think they know me better than they do.
Yeah. That's the nature of podcasting.
Right. If they've consumed a lot of content, and I don't really mind that position. The problem sometimes is there's some like there's an imbalance, right? Where they go in knowing a lot and I go in knowing nothing. And it's almost it's not that it's unfair, it's just you're starting at an imbalance.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You just have to kind of navigate it together.
You need to find somebody with a podcast.
Right. I need somebody with
like a Meghan Markle type figure.
I need someone with the exact amount of episodes as I have, or it won't be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
well, if I meet anybody.
Yeah, if you meet anyone that's like on episode 145 or so.
Yeah, between like 136 and 150.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. No, it's interesting. I don't necessarily mind either way, like if they are similarly in a place of influence or public appearance, or if they are completely off the grid. You know, I don't really care. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting new facet of dating. Yeah.
Do you get irritated, but do people just give you unsolicited advice? Like, do people come on here and they're like, you know what you need to do?
Not on here. Mostly because I think it's like, it's my show. Right.
Yeah.
So
if they did, you just edit it out anyway.
I think I do a good job of finding guests that won't come on here and berate me. But
which brings me to some things I
which brings us to the berating segment. I think there are a lot of people in my life that just I think don't get it, don't understand why I'm not married, and it disturbs them a little bit, and that's fine. But I think people view me as like a normal, decent guy, and so they're like, what gives? Like, are you too picky? What's your problem? And it's hard because my answer is like, well, this is a really, really, really nuanced topic. And so I don't have like a really simple rejoinder that will make you feel any better, because it's like, it's a long story why I'm single, and it's a complicated story. And so it's hard for someone, maybe even like yourself, that got married really early and young, to understand the position I'm in, because you were never even remotely there. And so when I get advice from people like that, I'm kind of like, okay, you have no idea the position I'm in.
Yeah. I think I can understand it intellectually, but having not experienced it, I just couldn't wrap my head around it in the right way. I wouldn't say that I forget how you just described people, disturbed by it. I mean, definitely I'd be rooting for you.
Sure.
To find what you're looking for, but it takes what it takes. I got married. I wasn't ready. I wasn't nearly ready to get married. My wife was, and I kind of had to make the decision. Do I marry the girl that I definitely want when I'm not ready to do it yet? I'm not ready to be, I'm not enough yet. Or do I let her go? Right. Or do I try to drag her along until I'm ready? That's not going to work. And so I was probably exactly the opposite of you, where
Yeah.
I kind of got pulled into it by the situation.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some similarities and some understanding there.
Yeah.
But I also think, we got married and we had 4 years. We call them our single years before the kids came.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for 2 of those years, we were trying
Mm-hmm.
and we were frustrated that we're like, where are the kids? What's going on? And all that I think both of us could focus on at the time was what we didn't have.
Right.
And we now look back on it like we could go to a movie on a Tuesday at 3:00. Like there's so much freedom involved.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wouldn't trade where I am now, so maybe it's just about enjoy where you are when you're there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always tell people, I think getting married like really young and getting married a little bit older both have really big pros and cons,
Yeah.
And I think probably the sweet spot is to get married when you're like 27 or 28 or something. But still pros and cons. But yeah, when you get married really young, there's a beauty of growing together, and there's a beauty of having that youth together, and not having many other like I have a million ex-girlfriends that I can compare someone to, right? When you don't have much dating experience or many past relationships, it can be like, yeah, it's just you. It's always just been you.
Yeah.
And there's a beauty to that.
Yeah.
Right. But there's also a beauty to saying like, because I've dated so much, I know what I need, and I know what I like deserve, and I know what makes me happy and what makes me feel fulfilled and what I struggle with and what's problematic. And so, yeah, pros and cons to both. Yeah. But, to me, the huge pro is like, I feel deeply ready to get married, and I feel deeply like at peace with myself. And so I'm not worried about like conjoining with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will serve you very well.
Right. Yeah. 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 Hopefully.
Yeah. I wish we'd had some more of that.
Right.
I'm excited to see you find what you're
Thanks,
looking
man.
for.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Well, dude, thanks so much for coming on. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I had no idea what to expect.
Same. Same.
But,
after you edit all this, it might only be a few minutes long.
Yeah. It'll mostly be just me talking.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay. Sweet, dude.